Hey, what's up, guys and gals? My name is Ricknineg. Let me adjust this thing. Let's hopefully have an awesome Sunday. I was finishing some snacks, little nuts, some cashews, some good stuff like that. So hopefully you guys and gals are doing well. I'm having a great day today. Hopefully you're having a great day, a great Sunday. And I appreciate you joining the live stream. It's awesome. You might hear a car outside. There's like a Porsche outside. It's my neighbor, one of my neighbors. So hopefully you're doing okay. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. In case you are new or never been to the live stream, this is something that I do that I enjoy, that we can share and become a community of I Love Lucy people. I mean, you can technically ask anything about the live stream. I'm not going to be like super strict about it. But we have pretty much gone through the whole series. We've started up again. We've done the pilot. And today we're going to look at the official first aired I Love Lucy episode. The first ever filmed was Lucy Thinks Ricky's Trying to Murder Her. It was filmed with 4 cameras, not 3 as the usual. And it was just too hectic for the crew. It took forever to edit. So they decided just to go with 3. 3 worked out for them. And even though that was the first to record, it was 1, 2, 3. It was a 1, 2, 3. It was the 4th to air. And so we're going to look at the first one to ever air or talk about that one. The girls want to go to a nightclub. So I want to make sure the sound is off because I don't want to get any copyright issues. Yeah, we should be okay because the sound's going through there. Anyway, so let's talk about the episode a little bit. And yeah, I mean, what are some of the mistakes, Jabe, that you noticed in this episode? Jabe says there's a lot of mistakes in this episode. Like what? Let me know. Let me know. I would love to know. Let's read a little bit about it, or let me tell you a little bit about the episode. What's so important about it? According to this, it rates it as episode 2 because the first one was the pilot. And so, I don't know. It's. I guess we all understand the main idea here. It was the first one aired, second episode, according to this. And so it was filmed Saturday, September 15th, 1951. So it was filmed September 15th, and it aired exactly a month later, October 15th, 1951. By this time, Lucille Ball was 40 years old, which to some people was a shock because she doesn't look 40 at all. She looks fairly young. And she just came off of her pregnancy with Lucy Arnaz Luckinbill, which is pretty interesting. And so she was kind of dropping that baby weight. And during the pilot, she was actually pregnant, which is interesting. I don't know if many people knew that. Rating sure was 38.7. That's not bad, I think, for just an episode, the first episode, and something that no one has ever seen. And the music is Guadalajara, of course. Now, a couple of things here before we get into some other facts that I have. Jabe says, when Lucy and Ricky are dancing, you can see their bedroom in the corner of the living room. Yep. So that one is in the murder episode. Lucy thinks Ricky's trying to murder her, not in the nightclub one. So yes, absolutely correct. Yeah, remember, that was the first one that they ever filmed. So, I mean, there are definitely going to be mistakes there. There's a lot of editing issues, and it was the first time they tried. Even the club looked weird because they had a smaller club set. Now, notice in this one here, in this episode, there's only 3 locations. There's the main living room location. Right here, we're starting out at the kitchen with Lucy and Ethel. And then, let me see. And then Fred and Ethel's apartment, which was shot in the original location where the Ricardo's bedroom was. I made a whole episode on that. And so that's it. They had no club scene in this one. Nothing too crazy. And if you think about it, for shooting, it was perfect because it started out in the kitchen. Then immediately the cameras would go into the living room where the boys would chat, right? And then the next scene, they would go into the Mertz's apartment, and they would just go next door. So everything was set up. Now, when it got more complicated, they would have to stop production, move furniture. Here, everything was set up for the shoot, which was kind of interesting. So you can see as the show developed, they got more complex and did more changes and stuff. So that's kind of cool. Hello, Christopher. Hello, everyone. Hello, Jared, Scott, Bobby. Wow, lots of people on here. Kippy, Casey, Angela, Arthur. Wow, nice. Nice to see everyone on here. It's interesting casting the mistakes in the episode. Oh, yeah, for sure. Anthony, you are good. You got here right in time. Look at this hair stuff going on here. What is going on? So John has a question. He asks, isn't it true when Lucy was pregnant on the TV show, they couldn't use the word pregnant? Absolutely. I made a whole episode on that. You should take a look. It's in my playlist for I Love Lucy. I give all the details there. But yes, it was not allowed to be said. You notice it was never really said in the episode at all, ever. Angela Rojas, when Ricky is saying the story of Little Red Riding Hood, yes, that's in an episode in season 3. He keeps getting the hunter and the wolf lines mixed up. I'm surprised he didn't fix that. I guess it's in Spanish. Yeah, because he was like, who's gonna know? not that he. I mean, they did a good job with the Spanish. It was accurate. They just weren't babbling. But I think they weren't too concerned with if there were errors in the Spanish. It's like, who's gonna catch it? No one on the set knows Spanish. I mean, other than Desi's mom, who's there. Casey, people who were watching this episode for the first time when it aired originally had no idea the iconic. No, absolutely. That's a great point. I mean, they're just watching it and they're just like, it's just a show. It's funny. It's pretty good. We'll see what happens. Yeah, but they didn't know a YouTuber 60 years later would be talking about the show and live chatting about it. Isn't that crazy? That's what I think is amazing. Like to the degree in which these shows grow and continue. Now, this is one of the episodes, again, where a lot of smoking happened, because remember, some people asked me about this. I'm going to make an episode in the future about it in terms of Philip Morris. Philip Morris was a sponsor of the show, and Philip Morris, if you don't know, is a cigarette company, and cigarettes at that time were very common. In fact, if you smoked, you were seen as kind of higher class. It was like I don't know. It was like going to the beauty parlor and getting your hair done every day kind of thing. Like, it was like, yeah, only expensive people can do that. It wasn't seen as like a health issue. Kind of like cell phones today. Everyone uses cell phones, but we have heard that they can possibly cause tumors in the brain tumors. And although that's not proven, that's what it's suggesting. And people kind of don't care, and they still do it. Kind of like here. Even some people say, well, it may not be bad. It may be bad for you. But anyway, I'm segueing in the fact that they all smoked. Right now, Lucy, we see Bill, we see Viv, and Desi all smoking at the same time. That was a way to sponsor Philip Morris. And around the entire indoor studio, around the audience, there was like Philip Morris advertising everywhere. They gave a good chunk of money for the show to be possible. That's how sponsors work. That's how the advertising works. So, yes. Zardon Rich, are you new? Are you new to the channel, or at least to the live stream? Greetings to you from New York, Rick. And that's what Zardon Rich says. And greetings from West Coast. Awesome. Hey, Todd, nice to see you. You're a big Lucy fan. Nice to see that. Arthur, did Ricky and Fred ever watch wrestling on TV in an episode? I remember it, but it could be confusing with another show. They watched boxing. There was a lot of boxing that was watched, for sure. They went to a live boxing match here in this episode, according to the story. And then during Ricky and Fred are TV fans, the whole thing is around a boxing match. Angela, his mistakes in Spanish drive you crazy, yet you love when he speaks Spanish. My grandmother, who's Salvadorian, loves the show, Salvadoreña. Spanish or not, she laughed so hard watching the show. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, my grandma used to not know a word of English, and she kind of watched Lucy a few times. She thought she was funny, but it wasn't like her favorite show. And I mean, that says a lot, because it's hard to watch something in another language. Like, put something in like Japanese, a language that you have no idea about, and then see if you'll laugh, you know, if it's a comedy, a Japanese comedy. So it's kind of cool to think about. Alec asks, is it true that I Love Lucy was the only show that could show someone smoking? Well, not really. I mean, there were other shows in which people smoked. There were a lot of variety shows, a lot of like, you know, Johnny Carson. I mean, people used to smoke on camera all the time. In the movies, they used to smoke all the time. In fact, it's reversed now. Now it's not technically allowed. Sean Penn, I don't know if you guys have heard, he used to be the husband of Madonna, or the ex-husband of Madonna. He went on Stephen Colbert's show, and he smoked, and it was like a big deal to people. People were like, he's smoking on the show. So it's reversed now. They're not allowed to do that anymore. Jabe, I don't think this is a mistake, but I can't help to point it out. After Ricky does his guitar number and Lucy and Ethel, but the same dress, you can see a TV camera on the right-hand side. Interesting. I've never looked at that. I'd have to take a look. Alec J. Rick and Fred are TV fans, have some really good moments. Oh, for sure. We were talking about that, Alec. Alec and I had a live chat, and it was really good. It was really fun. We watched together. We watched an episode. He watched it on his screen. I watched it on my screen, and we chatted about it. And it was really fun because we pointed out really cool things, really cool facts. He pointed some cool things out that I didn't even know. And it was good. It's a nice sharing. So if you're interested in a one-on-one chat, there's a special going on. Links are in the description down below. Instructions and everything. It's really easy to set up. It's not complicated at all. And it's not intimidating. It's fun. It's really fun. It's a great way to support the channel. Happy Sunday, everyone, Blvd says. And then what is nice about this episode is that you can see the girls as housewives. Now, also right here, you can see it. In the first episode that was filmed, we were talking about that. Lucy thinks Ricky's trying to murder her. You can see the bedroom, and that's because the set was too short. The camera pulled too much to the left. And what they did in this episode, because remember, this was filmed after that, there's like an extra added piece on the set. It's like a board. It's like an extra board, and you can see that there. So you cannot see into the bedroom at all. And it's not really the bedroom. In this case, it would have been the Mertz's apartment. You would have seen the Mertz's apartment in the shot, which would have been interesting to note. But we never did get to see that. And I did talk to Alec about some of the secrets of how these are shot and how you can tell that the Mertz's apartment is the Ricardo's apartment. So it's something great that we can do in the live chats, by the way. And Fred here is drinking beer. They're both drinking beer, and I'm just interested in that because I don't know if that was scandalous at all. Do any of you know about that? I mean, drinking alcohol on camera. I know, of course, prohibition, but then it was allowed. This is the 50s. But I don't think there's ever been that stigma, at least on TV, for alcohol, at least early in the day. It seems like there should be, but I don't know. Mr. Thesper, nice to see you on the chat. He asks, I'm assuming Mr. because Mr. What's your favorite Connecticut episode, Rick? Favorite Connecticut episode? You know, it's really hard when people ask me, like, what is my favorite? Because it's like there's so many. But let's say one that really, really calls attention to me that I really love. Let me see. I feel like I have to go through them in my brain. Does that include the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour too? Because the Milton Berle one at the house was hilarious to me because they were going in the bedroom, in and out. I love the... I do love the one with the statue, believe it or not, because there's a lot going on. There's about the dog training going on. There's the statue stuff going on. There's the destruction of the statue going on. The tulip one I also really like. The barbecue one I also really like. I don't like the ones where they're like crying over the Mertzes and all that stuff. I do like the one where Lucy gets furniture as well, and Ricky comes home angry because she spends like $3,000, which is like 30 grand. That's crazy. Yes, Adrian. And for anyone that needs to know, always a reminder that down below in the description, episodes are posted down there. What we're talking about, the first and second aired I Love Lucy episodes ever. Arthur, how is showing the bedroom a blooper? They were in the bedroom a lot on the show, and the director in the chair. Now that's a blooper. Yes, but remember, Arthur, if you're showing, okay, if you're showing here, if this is supposed to be a real apartment, and you're showing the living room and you pan a little bit and you see like literally a break in the wall and you see the bedroom, yeah, no one has a house like that where, you know, everything is flat. Obviously it was a TV show, but that's a big blooper. You don't want to show, you know, the other room and show that there's like a line drawn. The space is because the fourth wall, right? There's no fourth wall. And so it's like we're looking through the wall of the Ricardo's apartment when we're watching the show. We're like that magic power of looking through that. Like we're in on their lives. They can't see us. And so that wouldn't make sense to have everything open up like that. So, yeah. But yes, Jay, Bill Frawley was prohibited to drink before filming. Yes, but here he was drinking a beer. Now, was that really a beer? I don't know. It looked like it. It was foamy. the color seemed right, even though it's black and white. But I mean, it didn't look like it was water. It wasn't just like a drink. Like that was beer. And I don't think they would go through the work of actually faking the look of beer. But then again, Fred took like 2-3 sips. So I don't know. Just my thoughts. Barbecue. You like the barbecue episode, Adrian? Kippy, I know one episode you can see bottles in the Ricardo's apartment, and later episode they removed them so they wouldn't look like drinkers. Yeah, so I guess they were a little bit aware of that. They wanted to make sure that they didn't look like drunks, I guess. Todd. So Todd says, you're a bigger Desi fan because he was a straight man. Straight man, of course, meaning the fact that he can play opposed to a clown-like character, a comedian-type character, and he has to keep a straight face to the comedy that's going on. Then we call that the straight man. John, nice to see you on the chat. There was an episode where Little Ricky was missing that showed a lot of walls as the action flowed all throughout the apartment. Yep. Do you remember which one? Christopher, you love the Tango episode. That's a great one. Yes, Black Tag. That's the longest laugh ever. Ray, are you from Bent Fork, Tennessee? He said he's from Tennessee. So I'm guessing now Ray could be a guy or girl's name. So I'm assuming there. But Bent Fork, where who's from? What's his name? Ernie Ford. Oh, look at that. Fred in the tux. I like to see him in a tux. He looked good in a tux. But Ricky has he has like a tux, but he has like it looks even like it's too big for him. And he has this weird like it's like a bow tie, but it props down. Like Fred looks better dressed than Ricky does in this one. And the girls come in. Oh! And then Ethel comes in. It's great. It's great. Angela, you never realized that? Right. I'm glad I said that because, yes, remember, $3,000 was probably close to $29,000, something like that, but around $30,000 in our money. So, yeah, exactly. Imagine spending 30 grand on furniture. It wasn't just 3,000. 3,000 today is a lot, but you're like, a couch can cost like $1,000. Like, I'm aware of that. But $30,000, oh, for sure. Arthur, yeah, root beer could have been used, but does root beer, see, I'm not a root beer drinker. I guess root beer can't have the foam on top, right? Yes. Oh, Train Supporter, you're making brownies? Oh, I love brownies. I would totally go for a brownie right now. Sean, how are you? Nice to see you in the chat. Sean has a question. He asks, what is your favorite Ricky going to Hollywood episode? So they all went to Hollywood, right? But you're saying Ricky moment or just Hollywood episode? Yours is Lucy meeting William Holding. That's a good one for sure. I actually did a countdown of my favorite top I Love Lucy episode. And so if we're talking about season 4, it wouldn't be the choice that I made because I made California Here We Come, and second was LA at Last. So yeah, LA at Last, same episode as you. Hey, Becky, nice to see you. Why is there always feathers going around? I never see them. It's only when there's the live chat. I guess it's because the feather in the Lucy episode. I don't know. Yes, the first of many disguises that Lucy wears on the show. And, of course, a disguise because she's not recognized until later on, even though we all know it's Lucy, right? That's that fourth wall thing, because if I would have seen her, I would be like, of course that's Lucy, but, it's a show. So it is what it is. Makes it funny. Train Supporter, you do have a question. When Lucy was in the subway with the loving cup, was that actually taken in New York? Nope, absolutely not. Great question. No shots were taken in New York except for some of the exterior shots when they were in the car for California Here We Come. That's about it. Whenever they got out of the car in the Ohio episode, same. Never. That's all in the studio. That's all Hollywood magic. That's all in front of a live audience. They even had the subway car. Like, that's when they had a lot of money, season 6. And so they could do all this. They can actually buy a car, make something that looks exactly like a subway car. So great question. This one is yours, Fred. This one is yours too, Fred. And this is great when he's like, what are the hot? And Fred's like, that's my favorite Fred moment in this episode. bar none, of course. John, you don't know the episode name, but you could probably find it on an episode list. You remember it's where Ricky and Fred were left in charge of little Ricky. Oh, yes, that was where Lucy's supposed to leave. Yeah, Ricky minds the baby. Yep, that's the name of the episode. At least that's the one where Ricky and Fred were left in charge. I don't know if it's exactly the one you're referring to, but yes, yes. Oh, someone said it, Kippy, but I just literally saw that right below. So I'm trying to catch up to your comment, so it takes me time to go down to them. Apple soda. I've never seen apple soda. Oh, you mean like, what do you call it? Yeah, I know what you mean, like cider, right? Like that champagne type cider that like kids can drink during New Year's. Is that what you mean? So Alec asks, will you be doing any videos on some of the supporting cast? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. They'll be coming, and they'll be coming eventually. And there's some great people out there. There's some great supporting actors, and I do have a few things in plan. I do have a few people. But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, the numbers game in some of these videos. Like yesterday's video, if you didn't see that one, you should check it out. Lucy and eggs. A lot of videos or a lot of episodes with eggs being integral to the plot. And so it's funny what sometimes people gravitate towards. I was like, the Frank Nelson one video that I made, I thought many people wouldn't even know who he was or enjoy that video, and a lot of people like that video. So it's just interesting what catches fire and what doesn't. You know, I sometimes think, okay, I'm going to make a video about, you know, someone in supporting cast, and I'll be like, no one will know who that is, but maybe that's the video everyone wants to see because they always wondered stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. Definitely want to do something about that. Train supporter, I'll need to send you some brownies. Thanks for asking your question on Subway. No problem. No problem. In case I do have to give you guys not a warning, just but a friendly heads up that in terms of food, the only food I will ever accept in terms of like eating, just for like health reasons and so forth, is anything that's packaged, if that makes sense, like sealed and packaged. I hope that makes sense to you guys. So so just a heads up, especially even with shipping, because things could go bad, and when they're in package, they're also preserved and so forth. From Oxford, England, that is awesome. Love to see you. I've seen Mickey before on the live stream, so I appreciate that you're on here. Well, Jabe, Bon Voyage was shot in front of a live audience. I made a full episode on that. It was called The 5 Most Complex Sets, so go ahead and take a look at that. But it was the most expensive episode of I Love Lucy ever. And it was nuts to film on camera, but they did do it. And it was amazing. Really, really cool. John, I've never heard of that. Manzanita Sol. Oh, wait. But it's apple. I've heard of that, but I didn't know it was apple. Oh, I know manzanita means apple. I speak Spanish. But I mean, I always thought it was like an orange. Oh, I could be mistaking it for something else, but that's kind of cool. I've never heard of that. We don't have it here. I haven't seen it, in fact, so that's kind of cool. Walmart has its own. We don't have a lot of Walmarts here in Southern California. It's kind of interesting. I mean, they're here, but yes. Yes, Shelly, I am live. Does that answer your question? Because if you would watch that later, I wouldn't be able to say that. Okay, I am, but I'm literally trying to catch the comments. So this is live, but I'm trying to catch up to the comments, and so there's a delay in getting to your comment, if that makes sense, because you guys are quick typers. But it's good. Keep it coming. Keep coming. I'm trying to get to as many comments as I can, and if I happen to skip it or not see it, it's not that I'm being mean. Just please tap it again. I appreciate it, La Blvd. Yeah. I have talked to Lucille Ball's daughter. Yes, he was on Sanford and Son. He was on a lot of shows. I made a whole video on him. I don't know if you've seen it, John, but I cover a couple of the shows that he was on, as well as he was on Jack Benny. And now here is a very interesting, the last shot, which you can see them like pretending like they're in the audience of a boxing match. That's actually the stands of the I Love Lucy show. So they just cleared a few of the stands, and I believe this was filmed after the fact. It wasn't filmed during the run of the show. When the audience was there, they just got some extras, put him there, and that was after the fact, because they would have to kick out all the audience. So yeah, so it's a great point. The episode is done, so let me get the other one going. Be a Pal. Technically the second episode of I Love Lucy. So let me give you some information on this one. What was interesting, the first one was filmed on the 15th. The second one was filmed on the 21st. Almost exactly 7 days. Think about this. They had to write, film, rehearse, practice, and film an episode in a week. And then they had 2 days off. This was a rigorous 4-day work week in which they would rehearse, and then you have to memorize the whole script. Like, there's a lot of work building all the sets. There was over 100 people on I Love Lucy making every episode possible. Be a Pal, that was a October 22nd, 1951 release. Episode 3, filmed on Friday, September 21st, 1951. The rating share was 40.3. That was 2 points, more than 2 points over the previous one, which means that people loved the first episode and more people tuned in. So that's really cool. We have Hank, played by Richard J. Reeves. We have Charlie, played by Tony Michaels. And the music is Mama Yo Quiero. Lucille Ball actually asked Carmen Miranda for permission to impersonate her before filming the comedy routine. And of course she said yes. And that's why we have Carmen Miranda's Mama Yo Te Quiero on the episode. So that's kind of cool. Kind of cool to see. And Lucy in curlers and living the married life, trying to get attention from her husband who's in the newspaper. Today, Dave would be on his phone or on his iPad. It's kind of cool. Yes, you're right about Bob Lamond, who was the announcer. He was also on the show before to introduce the audience to the show. That's cool. Hey, Will, nice to see you. Hey, Shelly from North Carolina. A few other people in North Carolina. You live in Quebec City. Oh my gosh. I literally thought you said you live in Quebec City and you were born in 1608. I was like, you'd be like 400 years old. The city was founded in 1608. That's awesome. That's earlier than California, obviously. That is crazy. Yes, Ray Dykes. The couple's surname was originally Lopez, and it was going to be Larry Lopez, and they thought that was just too dumb. Like, it was like Larry Lopez. It's like Lopez is Spanish, but Larry's not, and it was just like, that's not going to work, right? Nice to see you, Mars, on here. Shelly, so their kids did appear. That's Desi Jr. did appear in the last episode. Yes. The production schedule was amazing, Casey. It was like conveyor belt TV show. Genius that they were able to put out so many shows. By the time the first one was recorded, they had 11 written, I believe 11 scripts written. So they had 11 episodes down already, which was awesome. That was the only way they could do it. They had to be ahead of the curve. And so as more episodes were shot, they would write more. And so until they got fatigued because they just kind of ran out of ideas. I'm glad you like the statistics, Adrian. That's why I do these episodes, and I focus on episodes so that we can get you all this information. So, Shelly, do you have your sound on? Because that's how you can hear me. If you ask a question, I'll respond to it on the live stream here. Yes, John, that was the last I Love Lucy episode. Yeah, Lucy Lopez. Isn't that like ridiculous? Doesn't even sound real. Well, that's why they didn't go with it, because they were like, that's just weird. Yeah. Will, what was the advantage of filming with 3 cameras? Great point. So what that allows is, I don't know if you've ever been to a live shoot with 3 cameras, but it's actually pretty cool because I've even done it myself where I directed an event many times for a few years when I was in college, and it was a 3-camera setup as well. And there was one on top in the rafters and there was 2 on the sides. And so what you're doing is you see all the feeds at the same time. And so the director literally says, okay, we're going to go from this camera. So you start with like your wide camera. And then while one guy or one cameraman is like focusing wide, the other one's already in a close-up filming other action or another speaker. And then literally the director could go back and forth between. And then when you switch to the other camera, let's say one camera, the other camera is already ready. And then if you need that, let's say in the apartment, then you would switch over here. And so it really does help with efficiency and time and getting all these angles. If you really pay attention to an episode, just pay attention to when the cut is and when the angle changes that they go to another camera. And you can even guess, like right now I can see this is the leftmost camera because it's focusing from the left. And now there's an extreme close-up of Ethel. And then on this side, there's an extreme close-up of Lucy. So this would be the rightmost camera. The extreme close-up of Ethel was from the middle camera. Now we go back to the other camera. So the director's saying, okay, cameraman on the right, or cameraman 3, keep on Lucy, because now we're going to go on Lucy, and boom. And they would have lights that would tell them what camera it would go to. It's kind of cool. It's a kind of cool system. I've done it in a way myself, and it's really, really fun and really efficient. So Mickey asks, in the episode The Anniversary Present, do you know who the woman's voice was? I know the man who was Dick Reeves. Yeah, people are asking me about that. I'm going to have to look it up and see who it was. But great question. Yes, Alex, some of the ideas were often, in fact, some of them were pretty much my favorite husband's scripts, and they just made them visual. They were like, okay, well, because you know, when you have stuff for radio, if you ever listen to like NPR or anything, they describe everything, or they make it very big because you can't see anything, right? And so for camera, you have to add sight gags. And so they had to add things and change the dialogue so that it was no longer radio friendly, but camera friendly. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. Train supporter, you love Mr. Mooney on the Lucy show. He was good. He was definitely good. Hey, Katie, how are you? Congrats on winning the book. Should be coming to you soon. Yes, Shelly, that was the last episode, the one of the statue. The one with, Lucy becomes a statue after she breaks it. Yeah, there's a bit of secret there, Scott, in that opening shot with Frawley and Vance boarding the real train. Yeah, there's a cool shot. You can actually notice, if you look very closely, you can see the jewel thief aboard right before or after the Mertzes. I believe after the Mertzes, which is really cool. Like, that's him. That's literally the actor. And so that's the guy who turned out to be the jewel thief, which is pretty cool. That's like really well done. It's a very interesting fact. Okay, let's get back to this. In Lucy's book, she did not credit Desi for the through-camera idea. In which book, Smurfette? This is which Lucy book? Was it written by her? Because I'm not aware of what book this is. John, Robin Williams' constant movement while on Mork and Mindy led his producers to go to 4 cameras. And that has been standard. From what I know, most shows use 3. I'm sure some use 4, but 4 is a lot. It's kind of overkill. I'm sure it works for some shows. For some, it doesn't, of course. Shelly, they were not on a real train. That is a camera, 3-camera setup, all sets. Everything was made in a Hollywood studio. Everything was shot in a Hollywood studio that was not on an actual train. There was no way that could be done on a train. And I made a video on that showing the 4 complex sets. One of them is the whole train set, which is pretty crazy, pretty advanced for the time, even pretty impressive today to look at. Okay, so give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. I have to do some house cleaning. All right. Was Lucy able to sing in real life? She was, but she sang fairly well. She wasn't an expert singer or anything like that. Vivian was pretty much the expert when it came to singing. She was classically trained in opera. Did you know how many hours a day they rehearsed? The whole day for 3 days, I believe. So they had different stages. They would have the first day, which would be like a read-through at a table. The second day, they would just read through on the set without any props. Third and fourth day, I believe third day, they were actually doing like camera work, camera setup. They would do tape marks. They would know exactly. They would time like where the cameras would be at what time. They had time codes, all this stuff. And the fourth, they would do the dress rehearsal and then the filming and then 2 days off. And then they would do it again. That was it. That was very like condensed, but that's basically how it would work. And it was most of the day from the morning, I believe, early in the morning, 8 a.m. to like the end of the day. So the sun went down, they were still there. So yes. I have seen Aladdin. Oh, John, you have seen suddenly Susan, according to Jim and yesterday. Yeah, so you've seen the whole system in work. And it's remember, it was pretty standard. That's what we know about, but we become numb to these things. This was never ever done on the show. This was revolutionary. They didn't think it could work. They were banking so much money on the fact that it would work, and it's something that is still used 60 plus years, still in the work. And that's the only, they haven't found a better way to do it, which is my idea. And so imagine that. Do you have Lucy stuff that you do winning sports? So I have, yes, I have, what do you call it? I do giveaways. I just did a giveaway recently. Well, thank you, Train Supporter. You love my 10,000 subscriber video on almost 11,000. Isn't that crazy how it just like continues? It is, it made, so Shelly, I don't have like tons of Lucy products. I actually buy these with my own money, and I give them out to subscribers. So it's my way of giving back. And, you know, sometimes one or two people win, but the idea is just giving back to my supporters. Have you watched on YouTube when Lucille Ball went to visit Harvard University and told how the chocolate factory lady was at the farmer's market making? I have not seen that one. Nope. Probably, Alec. I'm not into the lingo. I'm not into lingo, which is kind of, I don't know if it's a bad thing, but I'm very simple. I know certain lingo, like even in my education that I learned, and I drop it. I drop the lingo. I use it for people who, of course, know that field, but I'm very simple, and I don't like to use all these big terms because most people don't know them. Some people do. And I'm very like simple when it comes to that. So I'm not into all the terms. It could be called blocking, but yeah. I'm sure I Love Lucy's in a lot of pop culture, so I'm sure that you can find him in shows like Aladdin or movies and things like that. Hello, Randy. Nice to see you. Randy's a great supporter, always on Facebook, always supporting my stuff, so I do appreciate that. Kara, how are you? Did you know Lucy? Well, I'm not old enough to have been able to know Lucy. Ray, Lucille Ball was 6 months pregnant with Lucy Arnaz at the time of the pilot's filming. Yes, you're right. You're correct. She was pregnant with the baby. So they had to just be careful with some of the scenes that they filmed. Hey, you made it, Domalee. Nice to see you. Oh, I love this scene. Lucy playing poker with the boys, and Fred is super upset. It's a hilarious scene to watch. He is like, oh my gosh, he's like so fed up with her and her lack of skills in playing poker, and just kind of butting in into, you know when you have your buddies and your friends and someone has no idea what's going on, kind of butts in, and you're like, oh no, they're ruining my fun type thing. It's kind of funny to see, kind of funny to watch. And of course, Desi's there as well, and Ricky's upset because he's like reluctantly allowing her to play. Or it's like, yeah, I guess you can join us, but he's not too happy about the whole situation. Lucy's like passing out the cards, and you also have Hank here, who plays a lot of parts. He played the Indian in the Indian show. He plays Grace Foster's husband. He was Joe from The Milkman. Remember that? I believe it was Joe. He doesn't play The Milkman. He plays Grace Foster's husband. He was also in the Publicity Agent episode where the Maharinsons of Afghanistan, and he played one of Ricky's henchmen. It's kind of cool. No problem, Shelly. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to do. Catch as many of these comments as I can. Oh, it's good to know, Smurfette, that it's in the book. That's awesome. I am in California, Shelly. Such a great card gag. Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's amazing, and the fact that she is able to make like a poker match funny. Like all these ideas are just great, and she's trying to bet against Fred. And then of course she wins with her ignorance. She wins, which is great. Let me see here. Such a great gag. Lucy loved Three's Company. Yes, I think Three's Company is great. Louis, great question or great thing. I mean, I have a lot of shows in line that I want to do, but I want to inch into them because here's the thing, guys and gals. I'm already having people because I'm not posting as much Three Stooges as before. That takes most of my time to make one of those episodes. And like people are like, Rick, it's been like 2 weeks. Like that's one of the difficulties of like YouTube. Just trying to balance that. I could say so much, but trying to balance that. And if you grow too much, put too much content, then like I have some people who are like, hey, I'm still sitting here waiting for your Minecraft videos. I'm like, I'm sorry. I wish I could make more, and there could be 10 of me, and you know, and I could do this, and that I could have this as my job, but I don't. And so I try to put as much as I can on the channel. So I appreciate that, and I don't know. I'm happy about the fact that I can put the content that I have and that you guys can enjoy it. So I do appreciate that. Dominique, you love the eggs video. Thank you. I come up with these crazy ideas and I put them on there, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. The same woman played Carolyn all three. Well, I Love Lucy. Yeah, so Lily and Carolyn Appleby, that was the same lady. Yes, Doris Singleton. The amazing Doris Singleton. John Ritter is amazing. I think he was good. I didn't like the end of Three's Company when it became like Three's a Crowd, like the end, the trail end of it. But I loved the most of his slapstick comedy. He was amazing. I know that her name was going to be Lillian. Yeah, well, it was Lillian, and then it changed. Yep. Well, I appreciate that, Casey. See, Casey knows exactly what I'm talking about, right, Casey? Because you have a channel as well, and you start doing more topics. You started doing, right, like Lucy, and then you moved into Dick Van Dyke. So you can understand that. I don't know what comments you would get, but I'm sure you've seen it, you know, where some people are like, oh, I want to see this, I want to see this, or people want to ask you to, you know, they'll pick a show and then they'll be like, hey, I like the show. Can you do this show? And it's tough. It's really tough because you want to please everyone, but sadly you can't. And so it is what it is, you know. You know, Smurfette, it does put pressure. I still love what I do. I still love what I do a lot, but there's a lot of like resignation, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of times when I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do what I can do, but I'm also gonna post what I want to post. And that I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean like I have to be enthusiastic about my content and what I'm doing, because if you're not, then you know it's gonna show. The audience is gonna notice. And so, you know, I can't make a video on The Nanny, you know, because I've never really seen an episode and I'm not really into the show. Doesn't mean it's a bad show. But let's say if someone asked me like disappointed, I'd be like, I'm not going to make a video on that. Maybe I'll watch in the future, but it's like no promises, you know. So I have seen Happy Days. Laverne and Shirley, I have not. I appreciate that, Adrian. Awesome. Randy, I'm going through a bit of a I'm going through brain fart right now. I've gone a month without flying because of many reasons, mostly because of weather. We've had some crazy like winds, like we've had winds up to 30 miles an hour, which is like double what you should not be flying in. So your limit flying in winds is 14 knots, 28 we had the other day. And so we can't fly. And just because of that, a couple maintenance things. And so it's been about a month. But I'm so close to soloing. And so whenever I get to do that, hopefully next week, I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you guys. I am not a fan of the Wonder Years. Again, whenever I say I'm not a fan of something, that's just my personal taste. Doesn't mean it's not a great show. It's just, you know, because I'm sure you guys have shows that you don't like and so forth. Doesn't mean that, again, that they're bad shows. You just, yeah. So I never could get into Wonder Years, unfortunately, because I know some people like it. Ron, interesting question. If Fred and Ethel would have passed away during the stream of the show, would they found replacements or end the show? I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, Desi was a smart guy, and I don't know his forethought. I don't know if I think they would have been able to be successful, both Desi and Lucy, if they would have continued with other actors. I think they would have been able to have done it. Would they have been as great as Ethel and Fred? Probably, or Vivian and Bill? Probably not. But I can tell you that, yeah, I think they would have been successful. Yes, Kara, they take a lot of time to research. Sometimes, like I posted my video yesterday, I started working on that video on Wednesday, and I'm already starting to think about what I'm going to post for next Saturday. So like, yeah, there's a lot, and sometimes editing, I could do it quickly, and sometimes it takes a long time. So it just depends. For a 5-minute video, it can take a while to get it going, for sure. Curb Enthusiasm, never watched the show. I'm with you, Will, on that. Never did anything for me either. Roseanne, no, I never got into Roseanne. Well, thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. I'm a little I'm anxious. I'm very anxious. One of the things they do when you come back from your solo flight is they cut the back of your shirt off. Like they literally cut it off. So obviously that's going to be on footage. I got to take an extra shirt, one of my shirts, because I can't destroy one of my nice shirts. Maybe that's the whole point. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. And I'm just to think that I'm going to be in the air by myself flying a plane. Like, yeah, I'm going to get there eventually, but to actually do it for the first time is going to be nuts. I'm sure once I do it a few times, it's going to be like, yeah, I do it. But yeah, that's coming up very soon. Hopefully by the end of June for sure. That would be too long. I have a lot of things booked by the end of the week, so we'll see. Hello, Shadow Dog. Nice to see you on the live stream. It's amazing to think that B. Benaderet might have been Lucy's friend on Viola instead of Vivian. Yep, I'm glad it didn't happen. Have you seen any cartoons? Yeah, I mean, I watched tons of cartoons. Animaniacs. Oh, I mean, I grew up watching cartoons. Soap operas. Oh, yeah, some of those soap operas can be really addictive to people. I know that's for sure. Thank you, train supporter. I appreciate that. Like, I just gotta keep myself focused. I've seen a couple of the episodes from The Honeymooners. Never got into it myself. Isn't that cool, Angela? There's tons of birds. They always get louder when I'm on the live stream. I don't know why. Into air racing sports, Louis, I've seen them, like the Red Bull stuff. That's nuts. Like those guys pull like 7 Gs. Like that is insane. That's what I've always wanted to do, like pull that many Gs. But it's physically like crazy to be able to withstand all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I don't watch it like every week or anything, but when I can, I watch it. I also watch a lot of Formula One. I started doing that a lot more now, but yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. Absolutely right. That's a great fact about being in the river. Yep. The birds want to be part of the live stream. I should just open the window, let them fly in, like have a little bread here. And yes, I have not seen He-Man. There's so many episodes. I never say what I'm going to post before I post it. So you guys just have to tune in and watch. You guys have to not miss an episode. And I also kind of sometimes hide things in the episodes or in my videos. So the thing is, some people are like, oh, I don't know, I won't watch it. I don't like the topic. You're missing some stuff. Like there's giveaway information. That one, usually I post giveaway. I didn't in this one. I announced the winner of the giveaway, and most people won't know unless they watch it. So that's the thing. You guys got to watch the videos. It's part of the thing. Shelly, this is not my job. I do this for fun. Hello, Lit Piano. Now, if any of you have joined in later to the live stream, don't worry. You can go back. This will be posted on YouTube very, very soon. Thank you so much, guys and gals, for watching. I do appreciate your support and love in this. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It does help me out. It really does. And yeah, I'm glad to see the positivity. I'm glad to see the love on the channel. That's what this is going to be. Place where we can do that. A place where we can support one another and just have a good time. Forget about the world for a little bit and just enjoy everything. So we'll see you next time, guys and gals. Don't forget to stay positive. And most importantly, be hopeful.